could be
Nothing changed.
maneuvered.
Usually commercial buildings don't have operable windows at all.
This isn't a commercial building. This is a village hall, soon to be city hall.
Commercial, it's technically a commercial facility.
City Hall in about 5 hours, isn't it? At midnight tonight?
Record button. There.
Ready? Okay, everyone, welcome to the Finance Committee meeting for October 20th, 2021. It's about 6:35 p.m. Kathy, how about a roll call?
Greg Elliott.
Here.
Joe St. John.
Here.
Damon Capel.
Here.
Tim Ghost.
Here.
Martin Fisher is absent. David Martin.
Here,
Cindy Cooper. Here. 6 present.
Thank you. Let's go to the minutes from our last meeting, September 15th, 2021. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Mr. Elliott, I will second. Discussion? Roll call, Kathy.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Tim Ghost.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper. Yes. Dave Martin.
yes.
6 yeas.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to go with Officer Jeff Brooks this evening. He's a visitor. He has a presentation for us.
Good evening. I'm here to speak to 2 different items on your agenda. One is the increase in the court costs. The thing I'm handing you is the schedule of our old waiver and our new waiver, the pink one being the new waiver. Shows the different fines that are charged in court. Thank you. The old.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome, sir. Now, I believe in your packet, there should be a sheet that shows comparison between
In the
the
council packet.
various
It's in the
villages
council packet.
and cities around the area.
Mhm.
Our court costs are currently $65 and have been since, well before I was here. We're kind of in the lower tier of court costs for mayor's courts around the area. What we're proposing is a $15 increase from $65 to $80. The sheet also shows the breakdown and where the money would go to, where it currently goes to and where it would go to in the future. Most of those destinations are mandated by the state. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer one.
Can you explain where the costs go?
The chart that shows the breakdown in the cost
Mhm.
of a $65 court cost currently, $20 goes to the Indigent Defense Fund. $9 goes to the Victims of Crime Fund. That's compensation for people that obviously victims of crime make application, and any one of our burglary or crimes of violence, to get money from that fund from the state. Drug Enforcement Fund, which funds our task force. Indigent Driver, ACL, ALC Treatment Fund. I believe this is for treatment of alcohol and drug dependency. $5 goes to the Indigent Defense Fund. $10 goes to the villages, or now the cities, computer fund for computerization for the mayor's court. And $16 goes to the Sunbury General Fund. And by the same token, 9 million violations of criminal cases, you can see the breakdown of those cases.
So with the increase, will more money go into these specific funds, or how do you plan to use it?
It's in the
Will go
proposed.
into the general, Sunbury General.
The general, okay. And where do we rank now with this? If we approve this, Officer Brooks, will we be sort of in the middle of the surrounding communities on?
Exactly. If you see this chart, it shows before and after. We kind of move a little from the bottom toward the middle of what I consider to be the mayor sports same size as us. Some of them are a lot larger and they charge you even more. That puts us in other village areas. So.
Okay.
Is that what you're referring to? Is that in this packet?
It's in
It's in the
the
larger
council
packet.
packet, towards the
Council.
back.
Oh, not in the
Not
finance
in the
committee?
finance packet.
I moved from general counsel to finance. So it's kind of
Okay, I'm sorry. Misunderstood that.
Actually, of the $15 increase, $5 additional goes into the computer fund and $10 goes into the general fund. Of the $15 increase.
When were you wanting to make this effective?
Immediately.
What kind of do we have something in council tonight to consider this?
Add it to the agenda.
When I spoke to the law director, he really didn't feel that we needed any kind of opposition other than the city
Motion and vote.
administrator, but he did sign off on the paperwork and said to send it through council for you.
Okay.
So we don't need an ordinance or anything like that, just a vote and a motion and a vote then would do it. And we can make the effective date as soon as we want to make it. Okay.
And that was David Bream, right? That
Yes.
reviewed that. Okay.
Do we do it in council or can we do it in
You
finance?
can't do it in finance, you
Okay.
gotta do it in council, but it's
Alright.
easier to talk about it here,
Gotcha, understood.
Mhm.
in case you could add more questions or wanted to see it more.
And Mrs. Belcher, does Mayor's Court hold its own right now in our budget, in our finance package, or?
We are breaking them out into their own bank account. That is something the auditor has wanted. So we started that. It was supposed to be the 1st of October and we're a couple of days behind. So
All right,
at the end of this year, they're going to have their own account. So it's going to be easier to track it. And that simply, it just makes life easier for the auditors. Because what she will do is go down to net zero at the end of the month. So she'll transfer money from her account over to the village. But I won't have the day-to-day posting that I post to the Mayor's Court computer and the Mayor's Court fund, and I pay everything. She's gonna be doing all that out of hers, and then what's left will go to the village.
so you think this is a good idea? Is my
Yeah, I
question.
mean, it's good to keep it comparable.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we don't need to be at the bottom of the heap.
Now, how long ago was it since we considered an increase?
Before you joined,
Yeah, I went back, I think I've got an extra date.
I can't remember. when it is.
2009 is the last increase.
Okay,
Before me too.
12 years. Put this right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't even keep up with inflation.
mhm.
Is this something we want to address on an annual basis?
I think your question is whether we support ourselves through traffic violation and fines. I don't think there's any question we do not. The cost to prosecute a case, if you take that into consideration, is way more than we ever hoped to collect from a case. If you look at the violations, most people pay the waiver. I would say 90 to 95% of the people that are cited pay the waiver amount. $120, if you take that over all the citations that we write, I don't think there's any way we could come close to what the actual cost per ticket we take into account, the officer's time writing, the time for us to run through Mayor's Court, the prosecutor's time to review the case. There's no way to ever support ourselves, and it's been that way through my 40 years in law enforcement. Upper Arlington's case count, which is huge, they don't have quotas, but they write tons of tickets. It was pretty much grounded into me as a new officer that if you didn't write at least one citation a year for traffic safety wise, you weren't doing your job. And of the thousands of tickets that they write every year in Upper Arlington, they come nowhere close to paying for Mayor's Court costs. It's just, we do it for traffic safety. We do it for the safety of the public, not as a generator of income for the village or for the city, sorry. We would never be able to generate enough income from citations to support even partially the mayor's court and the police court. It's just a fact. In fact, if we send citations to the municipal court for prosecution, they don't quote me, what's the cost per case for?
It's $230 per case that's sent over there. Now, that price, that increases every year. It's usually $5 to $10. I anticipate it probably going to $235 the first of the year. So anything we send over there that's contested, it's going to be $235 for them. For cost of $85. Now, when those cases go there too, we don't. When those cases go to municipal court, we pay for the attorney. That's what the $235 is. We get like 2% of it back, something like that. So it just costs.
Citation is a common misconception. People, say, well, you're just supporting the village. This is just to make money. That's not true at all in any way, shape, or form. We lose money in every citation we write. It costs us time and effort. It's for traffic safety, truly. Slow people down, prevent accidents. That's our goal.
I'll say it in a different way. I want to review this on an annual basis. And if cost of inflation, consumer price index, there's all different ways we could measure what the increase is. But if we're, like always, if we're not doing anything, not addressing it, we're gonna get further in the hole. So.
Yeah, I think it's well overdue. It's had the review and support of the village solicitor, puts us in the middle of the pack in the local communities.
Right.
So.
Appreciate it.
And you can refer to us as a village for another 5 hours and 15 minutes.
It'd be hard for me to make that switch to city.
I know.
I'm used to after 20 years. The second item that I'm here to speak about is the mayor's court software upgrade. This is additional software that is a subscription basis that puts our docket online so that residents can now look up their citation online, look at where it's at in the court process, get their next date, get their costs that they've incurred so far. We have nothing like that now. We publish a docket on our website twice a week. Basically, here's our anticipated docket and then the final docket from mayor's court. They can't click on that to see, where they're at in their case, what has been done in their case so far, or where it stands. This new system, they'll be able to put in, they'll find themselves alphabetically, first of all, or the citation number and look up all the details on their case that have happened so far. And when their next court date is, it'll relieve quite a few phone calls that come in. Do I have a court case with you? When is my court case? What time is my court case? How much is this going to cost me? All that will be answered by the.
But does somebody else have access to their personal information by doing that?
You'd be able to look up their by name, if they haven't received a citation, yes. And it's that way.
But not find out all those other details? Okay.
You would only be able to find out you'd be able to find the status case, but not their name, address.
You're not gonna see license number and things like that.
Okay, all right.
Just assessing their particular case.
You have your disposition or any subpoenas, anything goes, just like the county does right now.
The county has a access now. You can put in a name and see all the citations or court cases against a particular person.
This also came strongly recommended from not only Officer Brooks, but Magistrate Moran. So, I felt good about it. I gave my verbal approval. I'm glad you're bringing it forward. We got the funding. I believe Mayor's Computer Fund is paying for this, if I'm not mistaken, or is it Mayor's Court?
It's unbelievably inexpensive.
Yes, it's like,
$20 a month.
yeah.
For this much of an advantage. It is a subscription, it's monthly, whereas most software you pay by the year for maintenance. This is just $20 a month, a subscription service. The data is maintained on a separate server from ours. We don't have to maintain it. We don't have to worry about backing it up. It's all secured at the software company's headquarters.
Were you looking for anything from us tonight, this body?
That's just
during-
your.
During council, he wanted them to do a motion vote, and it's on the agenda towards the end of it.
Okay.
But this was, again, an easy way for you to have conversation with
Mhm.
Officer Brooks.
The increase in court costs more than covers, or the mayor, yeah, court costs more than covers it then, right?
More than covers it.
Okay.
It's this. We use the computer fund to redo our court area on the second floor. Sorry, not him.
The audio and
Audio, video, and the computer system over there. That's what we use it. We pay for our maintenance every year from that fund. And it is more than paying for it now. But this new addition will help with the additional costs.
On average, how many cases come forward a month, roughly?
I was afraid you were gonna ask that. I got it. No, I'll be honest with you, we were at quite a few cases 3 years ago. And that since COVID, our case count has really dropped to, a mere shadow itself. But in the last few months, it picked up again. There was a time when I first started as bailiff where we were at 45 to 50 cases every 2 weeks. Our average now about 15 cases every 2 weeks. But that's contested cases. Again, the vast majority of people pay their fines either through the website or through sending in a check with the waiver form. The vast majority. We tend to get in mayor's court the mandatory appearance ones, which are usually no operator's license, driving under suspension. Those are the cases that end up coming into mayor's court. And quite frankly, the people that are driving under suspension are doing that because they've got 20 outstanding suspensions. They're never going to have a driver's license. One of the big goals that we have in mayor's court is to get these people back to driver's license valid. And we've been moderately successful. I would say 1 out of every 4 cases were able to get their driver's license back, which is good. Some of these people have been out without driver's license for 20 years. That's kind of the goal of driving under suspension in our mayor's court.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Anything further, Officer Brooks?
I'm sorry?
Anything further?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
thank you, Officer Brooks.
Thank you.
Kim,
Thanks for coming in. Next visitor on the agenda is Mike Anderson, CT Consultants in Zoom land, I believe. Going to talk about the remodeling estimates and things over at the municipal building. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. Thanks for having
Can't
me.
hear you.
him.
Hold on. We'll get your volume up here.
Can you hear me now?
Come right through.
Is he muted?
No, he's been.
That's our audio system. I don't know if the speakers are on in the back or what.
Oh,
No, that's.
That allows you
that's
to
muted.
mute him.
Let me see what I got here.
we're working on Mr. Anderson.
That's not a John here.
I don't know.
You think it's a TV, Jim?
No, it's either the output of the settings over here or it's not turned on underneath the desk.
Hey, Mike, give me a call.
I'm gonna put in the phone next to the microphone.
But we did that last time. It's just got caught.
Yeah.
All right, try talking.
What is it?
Oh,
Well, then turn it off here. Will that work?
Turn your sound off. Turn your sound off on your speaker.
Yeah, he's muted. Okay, Mike, can you talk?
Go ahead, Mike.
Can you hear me?
That's better.
Oh, perfect. Now the delights of virtual meetings, isn't it fun? Well, yeah, go ahead. You want me to go ahead and get started?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit light. I can't, it's going to be tough to kind of hear you, but I want to thank you for taking the time to let me address the finance committee here. Let me share a screen here, and I'll kind of quickly go over the program study that I had and the rough order of magnitude opinions of cost for the modifications for the interior of the municipal building. So, let's see here. I'm going to share. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the objective in this study was getting together with the key stakeholders for the building itself, including Chief Howard, Mayor St. John, Mrs. Belcher, and everybody else involved to determine the cost and the likelihood for changing the interior of the building, and that was really primarily the focus of the study, to make it more efficient, essentially, on a space configuration wise. So I'm not going to go through a whole lot of the programming, assuming that everybody's had a chance to take a look at the programming draft here, but I think that we just wanted to kind of provide you for a better understanding of the different options and related costs for the interior improvements for the building as it exists. So, some of and I'll kind of go through some of these quick recommendations and then open up on the table for your comments. The one thing that we wanted to look at here was to determine some of the problem areas. The problem is that we kind of exist on the building itself. If everybody can see my screen, I'll kind of zoom in here a little bit. But the way that the building is currently configured is the public has free access into the building. There are no, there's really no entrance, so to speak. There's no vestibule. The corridors are oversized. Mayor's office. People, if somebody wants to meet on a conference configuration, they're going into the mayor's office. File storage consists of banker's boxes and a corridor. The toilet rooms are not ADA accessible. What else on the lower level plan? I think the HVAC system is in a it's in a bad way from the respect of zoning. I don't think it's zoned properly is one of the chief complaints there. Open office is limited in the police department. The police department locker room is a unisex police locker room where we have a female officer or two that they're not able to adequately use facilities in a proper way, honestly. The break room is combined with the shower area, and the toilet room is also, for the police, it is also a unisex toilet room. So what we did was we looked at 3 different tiers of plan configurations. You can look at it as a good, better, best solution to each one. The good solution being we're taking care of the absolute bare necessity needs for the department and sort of solving some of these problems. The medium version, so there's sort of a mid-grade as well too, which gets you additional offices, additional partitioning inside, and there's a best version as well too, which which we'll go through as well. So a lot of stuff to absorb, but this was the lower level plan, and each of these configurations is identical. Work with there's a Chief Howard on some of these configurations, but this is the one that we really landed on quickly, which we had a segregated women's and men's locker room. We had a common shower because it's not frequently used, as we understood it. So that is sort of an area that we were able to sequester, a common shower area just for anybody who wants to use it. New break space. We opened up the open office in the lower level, as well as reconfiguring the HVAC system. And that HVAC system as it works right now, I have not laid eyes on it. I don't know the age of the system itself, but what our costs include in this configuration is to make minor modifications, adjustments to ductwork, thermostats, and things like that. So that's essentially what our objective was. So I'll go through these quickly. You can study them in a lot more detail, but the first version is we created a new vestibule. We had additional partitioning for the mayor's office, new reception office area. We have a new conference room, a new workspace with repartitioning. We're recreating some grab bars and things in the men's and women's programs to make it more ADA accessible. I think everything's at a level grade, so I think with the adjustment of a few doors, I think we can get it very, very close to ADA accessible. We've got a new workspace, which is a proper workspace, but this configuration is keeping a lot of the water areas the same. Some of the expenses have been kept down because moving water and moving those types of things do get expensive. We also have new proper storage in the back here for file storage. The ROM cost on this, and this is a finance budget cost that we would expect for this configuration, is approximately $425,000, and that is a budget cost for design cost, contractor overhead, everything that we expect to include in this. If we look at this, the raw cost for the actual improvements are $375,000, and we've included 40% for contractor cost in the line. So that brings that up to that $525,000. And you'll see that in each of these configurations. Second one, we're adding a couple of offices. In this configuration, we've got a new open office area, a little smaller vestibule. We've captured back some space into the corridors, and the restrooms do become full ADA accessible restrooms. The budget on this one increases by about $80,000 up to $632,730 for the finance. The last version is what I think is probably going to be the best usage space on the second floor, on the main level floor plan, which is a main open office, a new vestibule, which is still large enough. We've got a mayor's office, which has capacity for 3 or 4 around a small table in his office. So he's got privacy. We've moved the toilets over to a central area immediately off the corridor, like you would want to expect in an office configuration. The offices on the east side here have been kind of opened up into a more a sort of a quasi-administrative area with private offices off the food. So one of the complaints from the police officers is they need to have additional office area off to the sides. So and also has a conference room. The cost for this one is $828,000, $829,000. So some of the costs that you could expect to see, I think this would get you approximately 8 to 10 years worth of life in the building, an increase of 8 to 10 years of life in the building based on ROM budget costs. And that includes things like, by the time you have to re-replace things like water heaters, HVAC units, and things like that. By the way, an HVAC unit is only going to last you probably 15 years, whether or not you replace this one or build new. Water heater is anywhere from 8 to 12 years in any case anyway. So anyway, that is a very, very quick, and I apologize, I know you're on limited time, so I did want to kind of go back up to whatever anybody else kind of wanted me to explain more or elaborate more on.
Thank you, Mike. Mayor Jill, I know you've been working intimately on this project. What do you want to add to this?
Real quick, can we do an audio check and see, are we able to get Mike's audio through Zoom?
They were trying.
Still not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm afraid if I change it, I'm gonna mess it up further. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we got reverb.
You want to move the camera so he
They
can.
want to try to sound check.
Hey, Mike, unmute yourself and let's do a sound check.
Can you hear me now? Check, check.
No, we cannot.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
For technology, anything.
That's equipment, yeah. Furniture, fixtures and equipment, so FF&E. So that would be another, I don't know how much that costs. And we have to add that into the estimate as well.
Yeah, and it can vary wildly, you know,
Okay, can you hear me now? No? Yep. Okay.
division again, go back that way, see what we can. We're not gonna just take it.
Current broker is shopping right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we part of a GPO?
No.
Should we consider that?
We've got 22 people.
Right, so that's why couldn't we like tack on to Delaware County's health
We
insurance?
have tried,
Yeah.
and that what happens when we do form fire and we're not a healthy group, and they don't usually accept us. We have been, at one point, we were accepted into the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, but at that point, we had to indemnify, and we can't
Indemnify the Ohio Chamber of Commerce?
indemnify us, so that a bring would not allow us to do that. Because we had to hold them harmless and accept all responsibility, and he wouldn't let us do that.
It's always something we talk about in
Yeah.
It's
subcommittee.
always- I
We
mean,
can't indemnify, right? Like, is that
We
right,
can't,
Mr.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was why we couldn't do it, why we couldn't join that group. That
Yeah.
was one group that at one point we could join. We're checking out Meanwhile's. We do try to do the best we can. I mean, I push them hard
Yeah.
to do everything we can. Last year, we ended up adding the dental and the vision under the health insurance plan because
Right.
it actually saved us money. We got paid back some money
Yeah.
for doing the gathering and it worked, but this time it's not working. So maybe we'll strip that back out.
Yeah, the renewal date's January 1st, so we have some time. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Damon and I will meet with Kathy and Steve.
Yeah, and it's just something that, you know, we just fight every year.
Yeah. I just wonder if there's like a group purchasing organization that does like cities or small villages, or I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Something to look into.
In the past, the two groups that we've been asked to join, we couldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and we'll search it out again. We'll see.
We'll cover the old bases.
Yeah.
Postage machine. Ready to
It's
go?
there. They're gonna come and install it probably, I think it's tomorrow. I have to look at my calendar. It's either tomorrow or Friday morning. Can't remember which. The mayor's court's got their separate bank account. It's up, working.
Okay.
And the utility bills, they're samples of things that we're gonna put on Facebook.
That goes live December the 8th.
That is the plan, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything further at the table?
I've been working with Ms. Belcher and then also Treasurer Buskirk at different development types, the revenues, the expenses. The term responsible growth gets thrown around, but I don't know that anybody necessarily defines that. But I'm trying to put some statistics behind it, including, burden on the schools, road maintenance, burden on parks, long-term upkeep, comparison between industrial, commercial, multifamily, single-family residential, density, open space. And I just want to say thanks for Ms. Belcher for helping me gather data, Mr. Parkinson, Mr. Piles, and Jeremy Buskirk takes about a call a day from me right now.
And a
It's been very
meeting
helpful.
tomorrow, I think. Is that tomorrow?
We did, yeah.
3:00. Okay. All right, very good. Got about 5 minutes before council. We will have the third reading for ordinance number 2021.01 here in chambers, in council chambers. It's the ordinance amending the 2021 annual appropriations and declaring an emergency. Do you want to comment on that, Kathy?
That one is the amended appropriations is the third one. There is two listings. The one that's on the website is the total, and there is one out there in your packet that has all the detail. Because didn't want necessarily to have all the detail out there, so you have both.
Yes.
So we've spelled it out pretty much, and I'm glad that we did take the 3 readings for it because it gave us time to fine tune some of the numbers as they came in.
Thank you. Anything further? Motion for adjournment, anyone?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Elliott. Second by Mr. Capel. No further discussion. Go ahead, Kathy.
Rick Elliott,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper. Yes. David Martin.
Yes.
Chase.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure am. Well, no, he was talking about having an HVAC engineer, I was like, yeah, I could do that. I could do that.
I think it's man. We appreciate the pro bono assistance from the council.
I have an LLC, I can send you an invoice. I work under a consultancy agreement.
Are you allowed to do
I didn't need dinner.
I don't have I don't have a.
Or PE or anything.
Yeah.
Increase.
So I could do bond, stamp it.
Sixty-five.
But yeah, I can write you a report.
That was really the only